My name is Jayani.
Hi, I'm Shehanka Kulatunga.
I am a food writer, blogger, and the author of pekishme.com.
I'm a mother of two, and I'm the owner and founder of Holy Belly Restaurant.
Cooking for me is therapy.
Cooking is actually a stress relief for me.
It's an absolute art form.
My love for food have made me open up the restaurant.
That brings together different flavors, different textures.
My favorite cuisine is Sri Lankan, and I love cooking Sri Lankan food.
Different nuances that enhance the quality of life in general.
The spices and the aromas and all, I just love it.
I would like to introduce myself as a creator in general. I write horror stories in my spare time and indulge in poetry, and I love cooking. So the reason why I got into food blogging is because of that same reason, because cooking for myself was the only way that I could indulge in the food that I loved and that I experienced around the world. So what I will be doing during these episodes is take you around the world in a journey of food. I will be concentrating in Italian food and fusion of Sri Lankan spices and the flavors that make your mouth water. I hope you are as excited as me about this. Welcome to my home. Today I'm going to be making yet another Italian inspired dish, my cheesy bun. So the cheesy buns recipe that I'm going to be making today is much more exciting than your ordinary dinner roll. So if you're having a dinner party and you have some guests that you would like to impress, this is your occasion to do it. So let's begin. So we have flour. We have 450 grams of flour here. We have butter. This is 110 grams of butter I have here. We have paprika, or you can just use the ordinary Sri Lankan chili powder for this if you like a bit of a kick. We have salt and pepper. We have a bit of olive oil that goes into the batter. And we have yeast, my all-time favorite ingredient. We have an egg, and we have some warm milk. When I say warm, it's not scalding, it's just warm to the touch so that it has time to interact with the yeast that we are going to put in here. And my favorite part, the cheddar. We also have rosemary. Rosemary is one of my all-time favorite herbs, and it's essentially Italy in a cup. So we begin with mixing the flour, the yeast, and the salt together in a large mixing bowl. 450 grams of flour goes into the bowl. I'm using ordinary flour, just white bread flour for this. And 2 teaspoons of salt, because you need it to be very, and salt always helps bring out the flavor. And we need 2 teaspoons of yeast as well. And we need the rosemary. Just 1 teaspoon will do because more goes into it later on. Roughly mix it all in. Now you take your warm milk. It's very important that it's not very hot, because if it is very hot, it tends to kill off the yeast and your bread won't rise as it is supposed to. Gently just mix it in. Now comes my favorite part. I'm just going to dig in with my hands over here, because that's where the flavor is really imparted. Just dig right in. For bread, kneading is extremely important because you need to work that gluten to a point that it stretches and gives the bread its elasticity. If you can see the consistency here, it's a little bit crumbly at this point. So now I'm going to add in the butter. 120 grams of butter. It's brought to room temperature so that I can work it in with my fingers. Put it all in. I love this part where my hands are knuckle deep in this dough and you can actually feel the dough breathing. This is my favorite part about bread because it's a living thing. When you add yeast into any kind of flour, it becomes this beautiful living thing that just expands and breathes on its own. And it's really good arm exercise as well. So if you haven't gotten your daily workout, this is it for you, I would say. So we are near close to the knitting, and it has come together so beautifully. And what you need to find out is if it passes the ball test. If you can actually pass from one hand to the other like this, your dough is ready. So what you need to do now is just form it into a big large ball like this. Just place it in the ball, little bit of olive oil, just apply it all over. Just keep it in a warm place until it rises to quite a bit of its size, and you are set to go. So now we're going to make the filling for the cheese buns. For this we need cheddar, a bit of rosemary, 1 egg, a bit of pepper, and my favorite Sri Lankan chili powder. Now we are going to make the filling for the cheese buns. For this we need the cheddar. I'm using a mature cheddar which has a bit of a bite, and my favorite rosemary, 1 egg, pepper, and my favorite Sri Lankan chili powder. Of course, if you are not too fond of chili, I recommend to use the smoked paprika, which gives a bit of a flavor, but not too much of a bite. First of all, you have to put the cheddar into a large ball, which gives you a little bit of room to mix it all in. I have 200 grams here, and we add a bit of half a teaspoon of pepper, half a teaspoon of chili powder, half a teaspoon of rosemary. Mix the dry ingredients in, and the egg, 1 whole egg. It needs to be mixed consistently throughout. So the cheese now has been mixed in with the paprika and the egg and the pepper beautifully, and I could actually smell the paprika from here. And now it's time to get the dough and see if it is risen and get to the second part of our recipe. So our dough has been sitting for 1 hour and it has beautifully risen right now. So what we are now going to do is take it out and divide it into 12 equal portions. Just use your hand for this. It doesn't need to be equal as well, so you can just portion it out as you go. You can actually smell the rosemary from here. You don't need to be neat. I'm never neat in my cooking. You can just perfect it as you go. That's the best thing about cooking. You cannot go wrong. Right, we have our 12 balls. So what I'm now going to do is just roll it out and fill each and every one of this with this cheese mixture that we've prepared. So we are going to take each and every ball, roll it into a rough circle, put it on a surface, and take your trusty rolling pin and roll it out roughly. Doesn't need to be very thin. Just needs to be enough for you to put the mixture in the middle and then seal the edges. Take a little bit of the mixture, just put it in, take the edges, just seal it right in. There you have it, this is your bun. Now this you need to put in a muffin tin. I'm going to spray it with a bit of oil so that it doesn't stick. So in goes the bun into the muffin tray, and you repeat until you are done with all the 12 buns. So we are done with assembling the cheese buns. So this goes into the oven, 200 Celsius degrees for about 20 to 30 minutes. And what you are aiming for is a beautiful golden brown on the top. and then you will know that it's done. So before this goes into the oven, I'm going to sprinkle some rosemary on top, just for good measure. So this has just come out of the oven right now, and you can actually smell the rosemary beautifully coming out from the buns, and I can't wait to dig in, but first I need to plate it up. It's very hot, so I'm going to be very careful with lifting things out. So I'm going to place it in a vessel that is covered with a cloth so that it retains the warmth. There you go, my beautiful bread basket. And I'm just going to place some flowers on it just for aesthetic pleasure. So now for the ultimate taste test. Just going to break into one of these babies right here. If you can see, the cheese is beautifully embedded in with the paprika and the rosemary and everything. So let me take a bite. It's just a party in my mouth, really. There's just a lot of rosemary, and the cheddar gives it that beautiful cut to all that flour, all that carbohydrates, and the flavor is just amazing. And the chili gives in that extra hit of spice that this bun really needs. So this is a crowd pleaser. You can just serve it at any dinner party that you want, actually. So these are my beautiful cheesy buns that you can present at any dinner party. That's it for tonight. This is Jayani Senanayake signing off.
Welcome to another episode of Homemade. When I was a kid, I was the only child, so whenever I come after school, my mom and father both used to go to work, so I was alone and I was always with my maid, and I always love helping her around when she's cooking. My love for food have made me open up a restaurant, and if you come check us out, you will find out that I have collaborated many cuisines together and I have made up the menu. In this series, I'll be cooking some of Italian food and some of American. So today I'm going to cook chicken pasta for you guys, and my kids love it. It's easy and it's quick, so I hope you guys like it too. Today, the ingredients we'll be using are onion, garlic, butter, Parmesan cheese, cooking cream, salt, pepper for seasoning, and we have chicken fillets and olive oil and pasta. So let's start. We'll boil the pasta. Add some salt into it, just let it boil. Until that, we can cut the chicken. So I have taken the chicken breast, cut it into cubes, cut it into small cubes. And leave it aside. And then take your onions, chop the onions, chop it finely. You get some garlic, and then pasta is ready, guys. I'm going to strain the water. Oops. And I'm going to use the same pan to So I'm gonna add the olive oil. I'm gonna use the same pan, the chopped garlic and the onions. Let it cook until it's brown in color. Then you can add the diced chicken. I'm going to add a little bit of butter into it. I'm going to add some salt. I'm going to add a little bit of pepper because if it's for little ones, they don't like it spicy, so it depends how you like it. I have used chicken, but you guys can use anything you want. Like it can be prawns. I mostly use chicken, but I use prawn as well, and bacon, anything you like. I think the chicken is done, see? And then you add the penne into it. Once you add the penne, you can add the cooking cream. It's almost done, guys. It's very easy and it's quick. This is my go-to meal every time my toddler says he's hungry, and he loves it because it's cheesy and it's buttery. So. And finally you add a little Parmesan cheese on top. And serve it into a plate. Add some Parmesan cheese on top. I'm gonna chop some parsley. My chicken pasta is done, as you can see, and I'm going to taste it now. It's so good, it's really cheesy and it's buttery, and your kids are going to love it. I hope you guys like it. Hope to see you on the next episode. This is my homemade.